good evening, good morning to everyone in the rest world. Welcome. My name is Tracy Tina. I am a fellow in Group 1 of the Basic Global Action Emerging Leaders Fellowship, and I will be your moderator this afternoon. This series of presentations is a continuation of the work of the past 8 months. This is a very exciting opportunity for us all in the Basic Global Action Emerging Leaders Fellowship to share our research recommendations and be in conversation with you all this afternoon. We've had some already. This is the 6th of the 9 presentations, and we are very pleased to see participants from across the world. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. This Zoom session has been selected as a meeting rather than a webinar. And this allows the presenter and attendees to see each other. You may choose to view today's research presentation in presenter view rather than gallery view. This allows you to see the presenter rather than all of the attendees. This option can be selected in the top right-hand corner of your screen. And this is a reminder to please be respectful to the presenter and with yourselves. So we will be distributing the presentation. We hope this presentation is interactive. Please feel free to submit any questions, comments via the chat box, and we will have about 10 minutes or so at the end for Q&A. Finally, this session is being recorded for future viewing on the Basic World website. So this afternoon we will be diving into the theme of big rivers, metaphors for the world we live in. I will begin by introducing our presenter today, Sister Michelle Gorman, is a sister of Mercy of the Americas, born in County Mayo, Ireland, and living in Gorman, California, United States of America. She is an institute minister for the Sisters of Mercy, and she serves as the chaplain for the California State Senate. Sister Michelle's topic today is big rivers, metaphors for the world that we live in. Please make welcome Sister Michelle.
Thank you very much, Teresia. And greetings, and thank all of you for joining us today, both here in the Mercy International Center and on Zoom. And let us just take a moment to remember and thank our ancestors from whose lives of sacrifice we are here today. My name is Michelle Gorman, and my topic relates to degradation of Earth from the point of view of 5 big rivers from 5 continents. The world's big rivers and their floodplains have been central to the evolution of humankind and are now home to 2.7 billion people. They constitute some of the world's most diverse habitats. However, a large number of anthropogenic stressors challenge their integrity and future as never before, including population growth, pollution, hydrological changes, large-scale damming, and of course, the climate crisis. The rapidity and extent of the stressors is so great that sooner than later, ecosystem collapse is highly possible even probable, in many big rivers and throughout the whole of our planet. Due to time constraints, I will confine most of my remarks to one river, and I'll refer you to my retreat presentation for an opportunity to reflect on the others. As you know, a healthy landscape and a healthy river are the lifeblood of the land and are interconnected for the health of all the life forms that depend on them, including human lives. And so today I invite you to link your experience of your local bioregion and your place in the cosmos within the global context. Deep within each of us is an underground river that physically and spiritually connects us with all of creation from the first moments of the Big Bang, every molecule and chemical of creation. At this time of what is being called the sixth great extinction, there is an urgent need for all of us to return to the interconnectedness and harmony that Indigenous people have with our Earth and with our cosmos. In this 21st century, we are realizing that our context is cosmic. And so as we begin, I invite you to imagine the reality of the slide on the screen. It is called The Day the Earth Smiled. The little dot above the arrow is our beautiful Earth as seen from Saturn. And on that day, July 19, 2013, NASA followers were invited to turn towards Saturn at a particular time and to smile for the camera. Because of the location of the satellite and the time of night on Saturn, it was possible to see our Earth as it floats on its perennial journey around the sun. Do you remember where you were on that day, July 19, 2013? This was a Friday or a Saturday, depending on where you were on the planet. Well, you are in this photo because there is nowhere else you could have been on that day, except on that dot, our fragile planet Earth. This is our common home that Pope Francis asked us to care about. Everything on that dot has evolved to be in harmony, in sync. The great mystery is that all the interactions of all the life forms that we know of have evolved to live and breathe on this planet, struggling to survive, creatively adapting to each new challenge, and eventually leading to human self-awareness and self-direction, which, since the Industrial Revolution, have also accelerated us onto a path of self-destruction. The stories of the big rivers of our planet are metaphors for what is happening today worldwide. That is system breakdown. And every day, experts tell us that time is running out for sustainable ways of living on this planet. All of us must act now. And that is why you are here today, as major contributors to the healing of the devastation humans have been and still are perpetrating on this earth. Our earth is crying out for us to practice an integral ecology, as Pope Francis outlines in his 2015 encyclical, Laudato Si. I've also chosen rivers because we are all intimate with water, our adult bodies being about 60% water. My childhood memory of water is of a well or pond in a field close to our house. I must have sat by it often, because so many years later, I can still taste the watercress that grew in it. I was a creature of earth, not yet separated from it. It seems that my childhood experiences laid the foundation for subsequent care and concern for the importance of water to the future of our Earth. And now we know that degradation of Earth is happening on all continents. And I invite you again to consider, how is it happening near you? And here are just a few highlights of the rivers that are mentioned in my retreat document and some of their concerns. In the Americas, the Mississippi River carries its human-made pollution to the Gulf of Mexico, creating a dead zone affecting all of life there. We know the rivers are older than humans, and they speak to our souls as well as our bodies. In Asia, Cambodia, the Mekong and the Tonle Sap River and Lake are interconnected and threatened by dam building, impacting Cambodian culture. My cohort 2 fellows remember well the Tonle Sap during our Cambodia immersion last August, imbibing its natural beauty and marveling at how humans and wildlife have adapted to the annual ebbs and flows of both rivers, living creatively for thousands of years. In Africa, Kenya, home of our 2 fellows, Stella and Meg, the Mara River lies across the migration path of millions of wildebeest, zebra, and gazelle, moving annually between the Masai Mara and the Serengeti. This famous river is threatened by human activities and the climate crisis. And in Europe, Ireland, land of my birth, the River Shannon is the longest river in Britain and Ireland. And here there are environmental concerns for building on floodplains and population growth and competition for water. So now I want to turn to Australia and speak about one of the world's last free-flowing rivers and the efforts that one Indigenous group of people is making to protect it. I refer to the Martuwarra Fitzroy, located in West Kimberley of Western Australia, top part of the map there. It's north of Highway 1, that little red line. And it's home to our fellows, Gabby and Dom, Australia, not Kimberley, and my nephew, James. I bring this river because it is seen as a living ancestral being by the Indigenous peoples who have lived with it for thousands of years. This river is 733 kilometers long, and it has borne witness to ancient song cycles, colonization, resistance, massacres, and pastoralism. In recent years, the traditional owners expressed their collective vision for the Martuwarra. And on the 3rd of November 2016, a group of Indigenous nations drafted the Fitzroy River Declaration, a very hopeful sign for the future health of the Martuwarra Fitzroy. The declaration states, the Fitzroy River is a living ancestral being and has a right to life. It must be protected for current and future generations and managed jointly by the traditional owners of the river. This landmark declaration is an expression of First Law. First Law is the traditional Aboriginal system of law and governance that has been developed over thousands of years by Indigenous Australians. First Law focuses on maintaining Earth's ecological balance so that all life can prosper. Operating from a sustainable model that is Earth-centered. An important spokesperson for First Law principles is Professor Anne Polina. Dr. Polina explains that First Law principles are not applied through rules, policies, and procedures where punitive measures influence, individual and societal behavior as in European-based laws. Instead, first law is applied through stories that impart values and ethics. These stories help maintain a peaceful, thriving, and cooperative society grounded in love and reciprocity. So, as I mentioned, in 2016, the Fitzroy River Declaration was drafted. In 2018, the Fitzroy River Council was formed as a collective governance model. Its purpose to maintain the spiritual, cultural, and environmental health of the Fitzroy River catchment, with Dr. Polina as chair. 6 Indigenous nations came together to form the council with the intention to be the first point of contact for governments. In 2018 also, the council formally met with the Western Australia government in Perth, urging them to support the council as the official managers of the Fitzroy River and to allow them to implement the Fitzroy River Declaration. The council asserts its rights under the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. Its vision is that the Western Australian government will enact legislation that formally recognizes first law and guardianship by the traditional owner groups. There is much more work to be done to achieve collaboration and respect from the political and economic leaders of the area, and indeed in all the Indigenous areas of our planet. Just because a declaration is made doesn't mean it will be carried out anytime soon, as we know. So perhaps we could just stop for a few moments and reflect on a few questions. Have you ever thought of your bioregion or your local river as a living ancestral being? Have you thought of the river as your ancestor? Some of you have. Have you ever thought of the river as having rights in and of itself, and not just for your benefit? And those of you on Zoom could write some words in the chat if you would like. And those of you in the room could write some words on your paper if you would like, some reflections. So did you have difficulty imagining your river or your bioregion having the same rights as you, the human? If all creation is interconnected, then does it not make sense that all parts of Earth deserve the same rights of respect, love, and extreme care? Like us, rivers need to be free to meander and not be constrained by human-made obstacles, such as dams, as referred to earlier by Stella. Franciscan sister Ilia Delio explains in part why we fail to feel our interconnectedness with creation. She says, the passionate right brain, with its magical world of creative visionary thinking, has been mostly sidelined. We have reduced mind to the mental analytical work of the left brain, depriving the world of conscious connectivity. The Indigenous peoples of Australia and elsewhere have not severed that connection to the right brain. In their song lines, which are recorded in traditional songs, stories, art, and dance, they have maintained a connection to their land and culture, thus imparting vital knowledge, values, and wisdom throughout the ages. And so in this short video, Professor Colin Jones explains how song lines are maps of the land, ancient memory codes.
of trade and ceremony. So you'd move from one piece of where you belong to another clan group. And so you'd have to move through the land. So song lines are actually maps of the land. To give you an idea, you got a group of say 100 people, men, women and children. They're living in an area, they're camping there, they go out hunting. The men go out looking for the emu, the wallaby, the kangaroo, and the fish and so forth. The women go out looking for the seeds and the wild fruits and things that they will use for cooking. And so what happens, as you're going out to hunt over a period of time, you have to go a little bit further. The animals get a little bit scarcer. Our culture, you do not destroy. So what would happen then? The warriors would report back, the women would report back, and it's getting scarcer and further to go to hunt and gather their food source. The elders would come together, they'd have a meeting, and then they would decide it's now time to leave that area. You don't destroy it because it has to regenerate and regrow again. So we move on before we destroy it. And so they will sing of the land we're moving into. They'll sing of the rivers, the bend of the river, the rock formation, the trees, the food sources that are there. And the people knowing the land intimately, they know exactly where they're going.
And so in the next little video clip, you'll get a sense of the sacred consciousness humans have in relation to creation, not apart from it. This is called the Marlaloo songline, part of it.
Waiting for you. Right there, fight there. Yeah, the love of fight, not fight. Whenever I get
So you can see how the whole of the cosmos is incorporated into the decisions, the sacred decisions they make about their lives. And so we see that the indigenous peoples of the Martuwarra Fitzroy are asserting their rights and the rights of the river and water. They want to prevent the devastation that has already happened in so many other rivers. And they are facing challenges. And some of these challenges, for example, the continued recovery from colonialism, the invasion by unjust developments. First they came for the land, then they came for the water. Now they're coming for the water. And there's a clash of values between their desire for an earth-centered governance and a governance which favors such things as water extraction for political and economic development. The indigenous people want to implement what they call forever economies for the common good, rather than short-term profit economies with destructive impacts. They are challenged to engage governments and corporate entities to live as planetary citizens. And we are all indigenous to planet Earth and totally dependent on its help. And so, as Mercy leaders with connections across the globe, how can we be in solidarity with all of creation at this time of impending catastrophe for all of life? I suggest a few things. We can know our own bioregion and spiritually connect to the whole earth. We can act locally and think and feel globally. We can seek to understand better our interdependence with all aspects of our own bioregion. For example, can you name all the benefits you receive from within your bioregion? The water, the oxygen, the food, pollination, birdsong, animals, How would you manage without those? And how are people you know collaborating to maintain a healthy environment? What else can we do? Well, we could communicate about the environmental abuses and neglects that we see. The days of silence are over in lots of areas. We can be encouraged by others who resist the encroachment of profiteers. We can collaborate with others, take photos, write stories about your bioregion, share them on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or your local newspaper, or just with whoever you live with, saying this is what is happening in my neighborhood and connecting the dots from one region to another. We can create artwork to illustrate our awareness of the beauty out of which we have emerged. And then I would say, look within spiritually. What do I notice within myself? Are my emotions affected by what I see happening to the health of my bioregion? How does the loss of biodiversity affect me? We can help people move beyond their fears of insecurity, by showing the benefits of caring for Earth and caring for one another. And don't be distracted by the disinformation, by people saying the science is still new. We really can't make a decision yet about fossil fuels. We have to keep studying. The analysis is flawed. Don't let them distract us from the real issues degrading our Earth. And we certainly notice the slick TV ads by oil companies telling us how much they value the environment. So most of us were taught that there are 7 corporal works of mercy. And Pope Francis added an 8th, care for our common home. As Sisters of Mercy and Mercy colleagues, we highly value the corporal works of mercy and have traditionally seen ourselves as performing them for others, as did Catherine Macaulay. Matthew 25 was her favorite, of course. Jesus saying to us, when I was hungry, you gave me to eat, etc. Well, what if we reflect on these works of mercy through the eyes of Earth? How about if we listen to Earth speaking her words of mercy, her works of mercy to us? When you were hungry, your food came from me. When you were thirsty, my rivers quenched your thirst. When you were naked, I covered you with my seasons. When you were homeless, my forests gave you shelter. When you were sick, my bush medicines healed you. When you were imprisoned, I let you wander freely without borders. When I needed healing, you declared an 8th work of mercy to look out for me and care for me. Thank you for that. That act of kindness may save you. And in your death, I will welcome you back into my essence. And so I conclude with those 8 corporal works of mercy, and also say with Carly Simon, let the river run, let all the dreamers wake the nation. And we do remember that Pope Francis a few years ago told us to wake up the world. And I will also say with Catherine Macaulay, we must be like the rivers which flow into the sea without losing any of the sweetness of their flavor. And so, may we humans learn to love the rivers and earth to the degree that we will advocate for their rights, while maintaining the sweetness of integrity and mercy for our suffering world. And this is what our leadership calls us to do. Thank you.